All right, here we go. Welcome back. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS, and our next guest is a Tennessee native and a luminary in the gospel music world. He was the founder and host of the Dr. Bobby Jones Gospel Show, and for over 35 years, has paved the way for generations of gospel artists. Please welcome to the show, the Dr. Bobby Jones. Doc, welcome.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bob Lee.
Now,
Two Bobbies and both doctors.
Yeah. Hey, the last time I saw you, we were at the Harlem Week at Grant's Tomb, and we were doing something. It was a big show up there, and we took some pictures and everything, and the show was fantastic. And that's going to happen again toward the last Sunday in July. And if you're in town, you're welcome to come by and be a part of the whole thing.
Well, I'd love to. I'd love to do that. That was exciting to me. I had never been to Harlem before, and I had a different image of what Harlem was like. I had no idea it was like that,
Yeah.
But the people there were just, hundreds of people, or should I say thousands. There was a lot of people there. I really enjoyed and to be with you guys.
Dr. Bobby Jones, how was it like growing up in rural Tennessee with aspirations of starting a gospel career in this big old world of gospel?
Nothing like that. All of that is just got to be turned around. I grew up in the country, a little town of about 600 people, I suppose, which is to your surprise. Had no idea I didn't even know what gospel music was then, and until much, much later. So then I moved to a larger town called Paris, which was a few thousand people that lived there. So and finished high school when I was 15, and went on to Tennessee State University and got my bachelor's degree when I was 19. Started teaching in St. Louis, Missouri when I was 19 years old, and stayed there for 7 years. Moved back to Nashville, Tennessee, got introduced to gospel music through the Baptist church.
There you go.
You know how I did it? The strange thing was, I was living with my aunt and uncle in Nashville, and of course the university is there. So they had a piano there, and my aunt played by ear. And so every evening when she come home from work, she'd sit down to the piano and she'd play, and I liked it. I said, so when she wasn't there, I'd sit down to the piano and I started, trying to pick out a few things to play. Yeah. So one day I was listening to the radio one Sunday morning, and this lady this lady was on the air, and she said, we need a piano player to play for our Sunday school down at the First Street Baptist Church. Now, I was born in the Methodist church. So I told my aunt, I said, I'm gonna go down there and apply for that job. I went down, but I couldn't play but three, I had three different notes I could do, G and C and F. That's all I could play, and a little bit of that, and they hired me. I can't believe it. So that was my first introduction to gospel music, because it was a Baptist church, and that's the music they sang. So after I did that, and I told my mother, I'm playing the piano at the church. She said, really? I said, yeah. She said, what kind of church? I said, a Baptist church. She said, oh my God. And so I said, hey, Mama, they holler at the preacher. The preacher keep talking, and they be hollering back at him. I said, and their choir don't take the choir stand like we do. They march in and they turn from side to side. All of that was very interesting to me. So that was the beginning of my introduction, actually. I
heard a lot of noise in that Baptist church, huh?
Yeah, make noise, man. I was still a young guy then, So
that was my first time experiencing that too, in Columbia, South Carolina. We have Baptist preachers in our family. So I walked in and they were going off.
You had a similar experience.
Way different from the Catholic Church where I was brought up and out this way. So we were hooping and hollering and everything. But what challenges did you face when starting your career? Because there's always something. They're calling for you right now, Bobby.
Oh, wow. Well, starting the career, actually, I had no idea that I would be in the gospel music industry at all. I became a teacher. I worked hard to do that. And for many years I did, teach school. But when I got turned on to gospel music, started working with some of the choirs there, and I enjoyed it. I noticed that many of the people at the university where I was teaching, at Tennessee State University, I was teaching by this time, that they didn't appreciate gospel music. They would say, oh, you're singing that kind of music? I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I said, well, that's a cultural experience, spiritual and cultural. So why not, And so since they were so against it, so to speak, I wanted to turn the ball on. I said,
Yeah.
okay, since you think this way about the music, let me see what I can do to get involved with it. So that's how it got started. You never know what's going to happen. I had no idea, no plan, or nothing about it. You heard of James Cleveland and a lot of the good singers they had, Shirley Caesar, all of them. But that wasn't what I was into. But once
Yeah.
I did get to listen to a lot of it, I became addicted. How about
Yeah.
that?
Not only became addicted, but you helped a lot of artists along the way, right? Who are some of those
Yeah.
people that you worked with?
Oh gosh, everybody out there who was in gospel music at the time, like the Caravans with Shirley Caesar, like James Cleveland, like Hawkins family, Walter Hawkins, Andre Crouch, all of those.
Yeah.
Andre and Edwin were two role models for me. I liked the way they presented their music and all, so I really tried to pattern somewhat after them. But now,
Yeah.
know that I did not know that I was going to be doing gospel music. So we had a gospel show. I went down to the NBC affiliate in Nashville, and
Uh,
during that time it was affirmative action. Black people weren't on TV, so every
right.
station was supposed to make a little space for them. So we went to the TV station, and they asked, "We got Bobby Jones and two of the people worked at this TV station, and they want to do a gospel show on Sunday morning." And we talked and finally they said, "Okay, we'll try it." So they gave us a half hour on Sunday morning. It became a hit
I
instantly.
remember. Yeah, I remember.
Because they hadn't seen no black folk on TV singing,
Yeah.
especially gospel music. It was at 9 o'clock every Sunday morning. It
Yeah.
became number one immediately, and that was
Yeah.
the beginning of my lift for
So you did
enjoyment.
35 years of that, right, Bobby?
No,
Bobby.
no, no. I did 4 years before I went to BET. We did
Oh,
four
you
years
did
of
4 years
television.
before that. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's how Bob Johnson was able to get my show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some guys, they were having a NAFTA convention in New Orleans, Louisiana, and some guys took my copied my show down and put it on display. So Bob Johnson was there looking for shows because he was going to start a satellite network, and that's when he saw that show, my show, which was the only show that was there that was black. So it fit just for God set it up just right for me. And then he saw the show and called me. Bob Johnson did in 1980. So Bobby
Uh,
Jones, I'm starting a new satellite network and I'm gonna call it Black Entertainment TV. And I saw your show and I would like to put it on our network. You'd be the first show.
wow.
Yeah. He said, "Would you do it?" I said, "Yes, sir."
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Anything to get out of Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right
so
place,
that's how it
right
happened.
time. And
Yeah.
35 years in, right? What did that do for your career?
Well, I stopped teaching. Left that career alone. I taught for a long time. I didn't leave teaching until 1988. I was
Uh-huh.
working with Bob Johnson starting in 1980. So it was a little it was a challenge to
Uh,
get into that because I didn't really want to leave teaching because I knew it was a pretty sure occupation and I didn't know
yeah.
anything about gospel, and I know they didn't make much money, but it was fun.
Yeah.
So and it was spiritual. So that's how I translated, and that's how I transferred, I should say, over to doing gospel music on a full-time basis.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, so you've done that. So what are you working on right now?
Oh man, look,
I won't
I'm
tell anybody. I won't tell anybody.
no, it's okay, it's okay. there's, there's another black network, that satellite network, and his name Reverend Johnson and Jackson, I'm sorry, and they live in Detroit, Michigan. So that's where this network is called Impact TV. But I was doing Impact TV the same time I was working with BET. So I took my exit plan to the BET people to let them know that after 35 years, I'm going to retire from.
Yeah.
I thought after 35 years, what else can I do? Let me go
You
help
got going.
somebody else. Yeah, because we built that network. I guess you knew that. Bob Johnson and I built BET Network. It was
Yeah.
our program that did it. Yeah. And so after that, I started working with Impact, and I'm still there. And because there is no other gospel show, there are no other gospel shows on TV, on mainstream TV now. And I'm going to do it until somebody comes, the Lord tells me to stop.
Yeah. Ride
Yeah,
into the gospel, wheels fall off.
yeah. So the national artists, they come in to help me because they know what I'm doing. We don't get paid for it. The choir, I have a choir called Nashville Super Choir. I
Yeah.
wanted a choir of great singers so that the people would enjoy it. And so we all donate our time, and the network gives us the space on this Impact Television Network. And that's what I'm doing now.
Can people sew into your ministry?
Of course. I ask them to. That's the only way we can keep it on. If the artists would come in, register, and
Yeah.
And it's
so how do we do that? How do we sew into your ministry?
Well, they send the donations to post office box. Let me see what it is now. 158947.
Yeah.
158947. You can put that up on the screen. Nashville, Tennessee, 37215. So that's how
keeps everything going. Keeps the ministry and everything.
Right. It's going. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you asked that, man. I'm glad you asked it, because we sure enough do need it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, got to be supported. And also, you work on radio. You have a radio station. What's going on with that? Talking about
AURN, American Urban Radio Networks. I've been on that going on 20 years. I've been doing radio. So it's radio and television.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And touring all over the world. So
that's beautiful. I like that. Now we can follow you social media.
What'd you say?
Where can we follow you on social media?
My website is Bobby Jones Gospel. That they can go there. Yeah, just put my name in and put gospel music, and it'll come up. Yeah.
There you go.
So, but I'm Bob. I am not good with social media.
No,
I'll leave that to the young folk.
I was the last one to get involved with the social media, because the original social media was going out there in the public and shaking hands and kissing babies like an elected official, and somebody said, you better get involved in this thing. It's going to pass you by. So I was the last one. If you look at my numbers, I got the lowest numbers out of all the other jocks. But I'm pretty well known from doing what I do in the community,
Oh, I see. Great.
Is that the original social media? But
yeah,
I understand.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I understand, but I guess we got to get involved in it somehow. We got to just ride this wave, huh?
Yeah, I have someone working it for me. I'm old enough now that I can just say, hey, would you do this for me? Do that for me. I'm over 80, so
oh my God! Wait a minute.
I'm very particular about what I do, how I spend my time now, Bob.
Yeah.
Bob Lee.
Well, I didn't know you were over 80. My God. Woo.
Oh yeah. I'm going on 85.
Yeah, you're looking good, man. You're looking good.
Well, God's taking care of me.
Yeah. And listen, I hope to see you for Harlem Week, that kickoff the last Sunday in July. If you're in town, maybe we can break some bread or something like that.
I would enjoy that very much. I love coming to New York. I tell you, man, you all are something else up there in Harlem. But do you live in Harlem?
I was conceived in Harlem. I'm in Queens right now. I live in Queens.
Oh, still in the New York area.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Yeah, Hezekiah will probably be there, as you mentioned, and some other gospel folk and a lot of community people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
we'll have some fun.
But listen, you're always welcome to come back on the show.
Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate you having me.
All right. Dr. Bobby Jones, Dr. Bobby Lee, here's Bobby C. He has the latest in the world of sports coming up next right here on Open.